everyone, this is Ms. Kennedy back with your math lesson, chapter 8, lesson 2 review. On behalf of the Lone Tree 5th grade squad, we are trying to find the greatest common factor today, or the GCF as we refer to it, and this helps us to form equivalent fractions and also to simplify them. Our mathematical practices are: number 1, I can solve problems without giving up. Number 5, I can use math tools and explain why I use them. Number 6, I can work carefully and check my work. Number 7, I can use what I know to solve new problems. And number 8, I can solve problems by looking for rules and patterns. So there are 2 ways that we can find the greatest common factor, and one of them is called prime factorization. Prime numbers are numbers that only have the number 1 and itself for factors. Composite numbers have number 1 itself and multiple factors. And so when we do prime factorization, we have to take the numbers all the way down to prime numbers. We can't have any composite numbers remaining. So let's take a look at what this would look like if we were to do prime factorization of 40 and 24. So when we start with prime factorization, we put the number that we want to factor at the top. This is considered the top of our prime factorization tree, or you could do it in a house. This could be the roof, and you're going down and you're making your house, what have you. Factor families, any term that you want to use to describe it. We take 2 of the factors that equal 40, something times something that equals 40. In this case, we're going to do 4 times 10. Now, 4 is a composite number, and 10 is also a composite number. How do we know? Because there are more factors that we can use to multiply to get the number 4 and to get the number 10. So 4 is already done for us. If we choose factors that equal 4, we come up with 2 and 2. If we chose, for example, 1 and 4, we would have to factor 4 again, okay? And so we don't want to do that. Now, 4 times 10 equals 40, so we're going to factor 10. And we're going to use the factors 2 and 5. Again, if we use 1 and 10, we're going to have to factor 10 anyway. And so now we're showing all prime numbers. If you multiply all of these numbers together, you will get 40. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. All right? Now, I want to clean up the screen, so I'm going to leave this here so you can see how it looks all the way factored out while we move on to 24. 24 at the top, something times something equals 24. 4 times 6 can be factored. So 6 is already done for us. That equals 2 times 3. So when we factor 4, we're going to use 2 times 2. We've already done it, so we know 2 times 2 is prime. Now we have 2 times 2 equals 4. 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 times 3 equals 24. All right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to circle the numbers that are prime that are in common with each other. So I'm going to circle 2 times 2 times 2 under 40 and 2 times 2 times 2 under 24. 5 doesn't match. It's not over here on 24, and 3 doesn't match either. Now I've prime factored the numbers, and so my greatest common factor is going to be equal to 2 times 2 times 2, all the numbers I circled. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So my GCF equals 8. And I got that from prime factorization of both numbers using the prime factor tree. Now, there's another strategy that you can use And it's making an organized list of factors. When we're comparing numbers, we can make a list of all the factors we can think of, and then we circle the ones that are in common. So, for example, if we're comparing 60 and I was looking for a highlighter on here, can't seem to find it. But we're comparing 60 and 54, and so we list all the factors we can think of between 1, starting here to the left, and the number itself. And we do that for both numbers, for 60 and for 54. Once we have completed the list, we go back and we circle the common factors. And it looks like this. These are the common factors so far. And then we might have to like draw a line, go around, make a weird circle, 10, 12, 15, 20, 20, 30, 60. And it looks like our common factors are 1, 2, 3, and 6. But the greatest number, the highest number, the greatest common factor of 60 and 54 is 6. So we have two strategies we can use. We can use prime factorization, and we can use the organized list. Now we're ready to practice. In the first example, we're going to use a factor tree. And let's pretend I'm drawing on regular paper. So I want to factor 24, which we did in the last example, right? So 4 times 6 equals 24. And we factor it all the way down to prime numbers. So the only factors that can be are 1 and itself. Okay, so we got 2 times 2, and then we have 2 times 3. No other factors, just 1 and itself. Okay, now we have 60. Let's try 6 and 10. We already know 6 because we shared it in the last two examples. We've had the number 24. And we know this one is 2 and 5. Now we're going to circle those common factors. 2 times 2 times 3, 2 times 2 times 3, right? That's an extra 2, and 5 is not a common prime factor. So now we're going to multiply 2 times 2 times 3, and same thing over here is going to give us our greatest common factor, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 equals 12. And the same thing over here. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 equals 12. So our GCF for these two numbers is 12. Okay. In the second example, we're going to make that organized list, and it's already done. Sometimes we need to compare more than two numbers. We might need to do 3 numbers, but look at these numbers. 14, 35, 84. Some of those, 84 especially, is way off of our multiplication chart. Okay, so we got to work a little bit harder to find those factors. Once we make our organized list of factors, we circle the ones that are the same. In this case, we're going to circle 1, and it looks like 7. There's that weird circle again, and 14. And we choose the highest number. That's going to be our GCF, and in this case, it's 14. So we've listed all the factors beginning with 1, and we've gone all the way up to the number that's listed. So all of these numbers end with the number that we were making the list for. and all the factors in between. We choose the greatest one, that's our greatest common factor. And that's the end of our practice of finding the greatest common factor. And you can watch this lesson again, watch it over and over, practice on your own, complete any work that has been assigned by your teacher. And if you have any questions, contact your teacher for more information or personal lessons. Thank you.